right. Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. Ophiuchus. You know what? We're going to go with this deck. This is actually one of the past lives decks. I've been using it kind of a different deck for everybody all day today. We have the farm. First off, we could have somebody that feels very drawn to farms, even if they weren't raised on one. That could be a throwback to something that they remember. Sometimes, like I was very surprised. I horses don't like me, but I love the look of them and I like the smell of them. But they don't tend to enjoy my company. And goats adore me. Dogs like me, cats like me, but horses don't. Now, I'm a little skittish around them too. I like to see them. I think they're beautiful, wild, and free and running. But I do like them up close. I like the smell of them, but I just don't like connect with them and they don't seem to like me. But let's say that this character, unlike moi, maybe this character does not have a reference for them, but they seem really like horses love them, or farm animals are really comfortable in their presence or something. There's a difference between like admiring something, liking it, or like being like where you merge and you bond and you really just click. And that's why I'm using myself as an example of someone who doesn't click, even though I wish I did. This character, not that. This character does have some inexplicable connection. So Ophiuchus may have, a past life that was about, farm laboring. We have the Hierophant. This card just came out in the singles story. Hang on. I'm going to mix up decks, make sure that, if it's supposed to come out, it comes out. But on the other hand, let's go with a deck I haven't touched lately. So we have the Lovers. Okay, this is a love story, Ophiuchus. We've got somebody that feels bonded to Ophiuchus. Hi, Ophiuchus. Great to see you, honey. We have somebody that feels really bonded to Ophiuchus. And maybe they do some kind of farm work, or maybe Ophiuchus is like having flashbacks or deja vu moments when they meet this person. It's like if Ophiuchus encounters an individual, that could trigger some of their past life memories. And it may not be memories so much as like, I don't know, maybe I'm the only person who goes through phases where I like a style of something. Like you could see it maybe in, let's say, my decor in my house. I'll have certain things that I picked up, 15 years ago, because for a while I really, loved all things, Italian. And then I took a trip to Italy and then, brought back home some things. And so, my house had like a decidedly Italian flavor to it for a while. And some of that in pieces of my house, you still see that. You know how we go through like eras where we're drawn to something. I'm using decorating as an example because it's so visual. But let's say when Ophiuchus encounters this person, by the way, could be a Gemini, could be a Taurus. When they encounter this person, the light switch goes on and it brings them an awareness of some past life connection. And it could be that they start to notice something like they're more drawn to the great outdoors. They're more drawn to like pictures and paintings of open farmland. They, suddenly like old Americana, furnishings or something, or they start thinking about what life would be like on a ranch or a farm. And it's like, I'm a city dweller. I've never been on a farm. Why am I thinking about this? There's something about meeting a person that I think they are triggering the past life memories to awaken. There's something that is like it's unlocking the memories, right? We have the book and we have those keys. And it just feels like when Ophiuchus is around a particular person, they may start to think about things. And they're like, I don't even know why this is on the back of my mind. I don't have a reference point for this information. We have the Judgment card. This feels like two people are finding themselves in this lifetime. Two people who had a past life history. Maybe that's why there's going to be some kind of pretty profound comfort zone. Honestly, this looks like Ophiuchus might take one look at somebody and there's a familiarity. There's this comfort zone. Maybe they hug the first time they meet and it's like, okay, that was bizarre how right that felt. Maybe it's a moment where it's just like, I don't know how, but I already know that you're important to me. Ophiuchus could wind up getting married. They could go from single to meeting somebody to married like practically in the blink of an eye. But I think what it is that there's already an awareness that like, oh my gosh, we have this weird familiarity, even though we don't know each other. It feels like we do. There's a song trying to bust into my head. I'm quite sure it's called A Hold in Tango by Momo Smith. And he's singing about, you know, when you take on a tango dance partner, it's rap music, but set to tango tunes. But he says, and it felt like it did, but I know that I didn't know you. And he's talking about like when you start to dance with somebody, you know, there's like that unspoken dialogue, and you know, you're in an embrace, and your physical contact is, you know, expressing, you know, where to move next and when to pause and when to, you know, take these breaks. And it's, you know, it's a very intimate connection, and it feels like, you know, like a mind meld. And that's kind of what's being expressed in the song. But I feel like that's the best way I could describe this storyline. We have a 9 of Wands upright. We have an Ace of Pentacles. We have a King of Wands. We have a 2 of Swords in the reverse, and the 6 of Wands in the reverse. There's something here where it's like, whoever this person is, I don't know if Ophiuchus is coming out as the feminine or the masculine on that Lover's card. And again, I never care about the genders anyway, but it almost feels like the other person, and we're going to say the masculine here, has had a life that really hasn't gone quite the way they've wanted it to, but like meeting Ophiuchus pushes them into this surge of like empowerment, even if everything else in their life hasn't really gone quite the way they wanted. They felt like they had blockages. They felt like they didn't have successes. Meeting Ophiuchus makes them feel like a shiny new penny, like $1 million. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, I feel better. I can do anything. I can get over any obstacle because I found my person. I found my other half. You know, sometimes we have these stories where it's like, oh, characters meet and the connections are really strong, and then they like freak out and they run away from each other. This is the reverse. This is somebody who goes, oh my God, I just found the person that makes me feel like I could face anything. Before I met them, I had struggles. Now I feel like I could face anything. Like meeting Ophiuchus gives me wings. That is, well, literally, they have wings in this card also. But I feel like that's because the missing piece was, you know, like the one another. Now let's put it in a different context. You know how we could have, I'll say even in, let's say in a job, you know how if you get the right group of workers together, you know how you can have like the A team, and you love working with your coworkers. Done, your team is most successful. And it's because like there's just this weird simpatico that happens when you get the right people together in the right vibe, the right energy, the right mindset. And what a small group of people can accomplish sometimes is far outweighs like the work of 100 people that are just working like little drone bees. When you get a group that really vibes, kind of like a band, right? You can have great musicians, but when they come together and they actually like each other and they play well together and they know it also, it can just be like magic. And I feel like that's kind of what we're trying to describe here. These characters, they're better together. They create better music together. They're fine on their own, but they're better together. He in particular, I think, feels so amazing to have Ophiuchus in his life. Things that weren't going well don't matter anymore. He's not going like, oh my gosh, I met this amazing Ophiuchus, but because I haven't been proud of some other things that happened in my life, I'm not going to go toward him. Oh God, no. He's like, this is a turning point for me. I just met somebody who makes me feel like everything is possible because I just met them and they're freaking amazing. We have the Devil. It is sideways. These two may need to be cautious about, with all this positivity that we see here. Keep in mind that this is a past life connection possibly coming back around for some particular reason. meaning in the past, they may have hit a snag. They had a communication issue, maybe in a past life, they were somehow pulled apart. This says don't let something like that, don't guard against it. Protect this connection, particularly uh, guard against miscommunication. These two probably, for the success of their union, so they don't slip into any old karmic patterns or repeat any old cycles, it says make sure that they don't ever let the devil get between them, especially in conversation. Now, the devil could represent pride. It could represent, if everyone's going to have a fight at some point in time. And because this bond looks so amazing and so important, I could see how if one or the other ever imagines that the other one let them down or wasn't sensitive to them, it could be like, I'm so hurt. And then the other person gets hurt because the other one pulls away. Like that could be their undoing. This says guard against it, because they will undoubtedly face a moment like that, and be prepared to not let this, like, make the problem be the enemy. Don't make each other be the enemy is what this says. Because otherwise they could wind up having to find each other again next lifetime. And things are just getting good. Things are just getting good. We have a 5 of Cups. There is some, there is an essence of sorrow that exists between these two, almost like if they have any even small argument or something, they could feel devastated by it. But I think, again, that's going to be the past life coming back saying, see, I remember what it was like when I lost you before. I remember that we had an argument or something, a misunderstanding, and then somehow we never got to see each other again. I think that a small thing could be felt very like magnified, and it's because of that past life influence. They're remembering how much they wanted each other. They're remembering how close they feel, but that would also stand to reason that they could also have weird, murky memories of great sorrow. So this just says, make sure that they acknowledge these things, and that they have a checks and balance system where they go, wow, this is kind of disproportionate to, so what, we had an argument or a misunderstanding about who was picking up the groceries. Let's not make this a gigantic drama, because this feels disproportionate for what it is. So where's this big sorrow coming from? Just because we have a little snit or an argument doesn't mean that I'm losing you for all of our lifetime. Let's keep this reasonable. I think if these two can really promise each other that they will not let, I think they need to kind of promise each other that they're not going to turn away from each other. Yeah, they have to communicate. That is the most important thing. 8 of Wands is communication all day. And they need to probably communicate almost immediately words of reassurance to each other, especially when they're in a fight. Like, okay, I'm super frustrated with you, but I still want to be with you, okay? You're the only person I want to frustrate me as badly as this. It's got to be you. They're probably going to need to reassure each other, especially during times of conflict, and they need that immediately. Whatever the fights are, they have to back it up with, but I still want you, because I think these two are going to have until they get that comfort zone built where they know that this is something that isn't going to go away again the way it did in a past life. I think these two are going to be extra sensitive, extra touchy about, oh my God, they probably want to leave me. They're going to have to reassure each other a lot more. You know what? Honestly, how sweet would that be for all relationships to like reassure each other that even if we're in conflict, I still don't ever think for a moment that I don't love or appreciate you or want you. We're just having a problem right now, but trust me, I still pick you. Like, how awesome would that be for characters to reassure each other regardless? Anyway, I don't know. I actually really loved this one. And Mr. Woof Woof is here. So he's going to be the Captain Interrupter tonight. Yeah, I hear you, pumpkins. You guys, thanks so much for being here. Lots of love. Nabila, Tarek, thank you. Hey, Violet, Abu, thanks again. All right, I'll see you guys again later. Yeah, I'm coming, baby.